guys, it's Shannon with CKC, and today we are sewing CKC Orchids. I'm going to go over the pattern pieces real quick, and then I already cut everything out, so I will mention the things that you need to check out for on these pieces, and then we'll get started. So first we have the back romper piece, which is cut on the fold, and you only have to cut out one. And there's also the front romper piece that is cut on the fold, and you only need to cut one. So these are them. And then we have the front bodice and the bow. The front bodice is cut 2 on the fold, and the bow is cut 1 on the fold. And then we have the optional bias crotch trim if you are adding snaps to the crotch so that you can change diapers easily. We have the halter ties, which is cut 2 on the fold, and the bow center, which is cut 1. Once you cut it out, your pieces will look like this. Here we go. We have the back bodice, or the back romper, sorry. The front romper, and note that it's angled. Then we have the 2 front bodice pieces, which I think I'm going to cut my lining out of white because you can totally see the cherries from the other side through it. So normally I don't do that, but since it's a white fabric and you can see it, I'm going to make that change. Here is the bow. Here are the halter ties, and here's the bow center. And so once you have all this cut out, we can move on to step 1. So step 1 is we're going to be creating our casing for our the back of the romper. So I took the back romper piece, and I like to serge it just because it helps when I'm folding, creating the 1/4 inch fold, but you don't have to do that because it's going to be encased in here. So you're going to fold it 1/4 inch, and then you're going to fold it 0.75 inches, and that will create your casing. So you're going to sew about 1/8 inch up from this fold, and then we'll come back. All right, so I just sewed this. Continuing with step 1, I have my elastic for the back bodice, and I have a safety pin threaded through it, and you're going to just put it in this end and push it through until you have about 1/4 inch sticking out. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew right here to secure it, and then I'm going to continue threading and then sew over here to finish it. Once I pull the thread or the elastic all the way through, I will show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so my top is done. As you can see, I sewed it right here when I had the elastic about 1/4 inch of the way through. So here we go. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be measuring down the number of inches as indicated in the chart in the pattern, because we're going to be adding our shearing, our elastic thread shearing. So here we go. I'm going to measure down 4 inches from the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. And I'm going to mark it over here. 2, 3, 4. If you want, you can fold it in half and measure down 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can just draw a line from one to the other, from one to each point. So you're going to connect the lines. I'm using a Pilot Frixion pen because once I put steam on this, it's just gonna disappear like magic. And you don't have to draw like a full-on line. Like if you can take it to your sewing machine and, you know, go from one point to the other point using like measurements or markings on your machine, then go for it. I just felt like doing this. All right, so looks like this. I'm going to take it over to my machine, and I'm going to shear from one end to the other, and then I'm going to use my presser foot to measure down and then add a second row. If you don't know how to shear, I will include a link in the description bar below for a video that we have, or I might be able to link it in this video. Either way, it will be somewhere for you to locate. Okay, so I just finished shearing it with my elastic thread. The inside looks like this with the elastic thread. It still stretches, but and this side is with regular thread. Yeah. I will show you, I want to show you the magic of how much it shrinks up though when you blast it with steam, and you can watch these little lines that I drew disappear. So let's head over to my my ironing board, and I'll show you. Okay, so I'm over by my ironing board, and I want to show you what happens. Let's see if I can. Oh no, I just Oh, it's kind of hard to see, but it shrunk up even more, and as you can see, there's no lines that I drew. So now it stretches a lot more than it did. There we go. Let's move on to the next step. All right, so this back bodice is all set. We're going to set it aside for now. And the next step is to create the bias tape for your straps. I already ironed mine, so I can show you how to do it. When you start, it's like a nice rectangle, and then you fold the end like this in about 1/4 of an inch, and then you fold it in half and iron, and then you fold each side in towards the center and iron. I usually do one side at a time, and then you can fold it in half and iron, and it's a nice crisp looking piece like this, so you can take it just to your sewing machine and sew 1/8 of an inch from the opening. I got these sewn, and I'm actually going to be using this in the next step. So you need to find your front bodice. Let's see, which one do I like more? Let me see, 1 second. I should have figured this out beforehand. Ooh, if they're not really gonna see it because there's a bow, but I'm gonna pick the one with the most cherries. Okay, so you're going to find the center and mark that with a pin. I have clips over here, so that's what I'm using. And then you take the end and you fold it towards the middle, and you're gonna mark that spot with the clip. You're gonna do the same thing on the other side, that spot with the clip, and now take out the middle one, and this is where both of your straps go. So you're gonna put one there and then one here. Make sure that the raw edges, the ones that don't have the folded edge, excuse me, go right here. And then we're gonna take the front bodice piece, which I totally made a new one. Oh, here it is, okay. Well, this is the lining. The other, the lining piece for the front bodice. And you're gonna put it on top, and you're going to sew across the top and across the bottom. Make sure that you don't sew through these straps when you sew the bottom. FYI, pro tip, don't do that. So here we go, pretend they're all folded up nicely in there. Sew across the top, sew across the bottom. Sorry, that is my washing machine. I'm gonna close that door and sew this up, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I just sewed the top and the bottom. We're gonna turn it right side out. Come on. And now, oh my gosh, it's turning out so cute. Now we're going to iron and top stitch. So you will sew through here and through here, just above the, or below the fold or the seam. And you wanna make sure that you're sewing only like 1/8 of an inch down, so that you're catching the strap seams and all the seams really in when you sew. And that's really gonna help secure, especially the straps. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna come back and do the next step. Okay, so now we're going to sew our bow and our bow center. I've already sewed the bow center, it's just a line across. For the bow, you wanna sew across the top, and where the center is, leave about a 1.5 inch opening, and then come down and sew along the bottom. And then we'll come back and finish our bow. So now I'm going to turn my bow right side out. Oh, here you go, I sewed it. Gonna turn it right side out. So here is what my bow looks like. If you want, you can either close this little opening, or you can top stitch all the way around. I prefer the look of a more dimensional poofy bow, so I'm not going to sew all the way around and top stitch. I'm only gonna sew this little opening closed. What you do, totally up to you. Completely your choice. So you can do this step, and then we'll come back and move on. All right, so I just sewed my opening close, and then what you do is you fold it in half and find the center and sew a gathering stitch down the center. So then you can gather your bow. I accidentally cut my strings too short. Okay, let me try to gather this a little bit. It's a little slow goings. It's gonna end up looking something like this when I'm done. Very cute. So we're also going to turn this right side out. Oh my gosh, my dog is scratching. He wants to come down and see me. Okay. So what I always do is I just put a safety pin through the seam, and then I kind of chose a big safety pin. Probably should have went smaller, but whatever. There we go. There we go. Done. Perfect. So now you're going to iron this so that the seam is in the back center. You'll have a nice flat bow center. So I just ironed my bow center, and I folded it right sides together. As you can see, there's the seam all the way around the outside currently, and I sewed across the top. So now you have a beautiful seam-free bow center. What we're going to do next takes a little bit of persistence because we're going to, but it can be done. This is going to slide through there, and you're going to get it centered. See, easy peasy. Now we gotta get this gathered bow through here as well. I'm gonna double check that mine's gathered pretty good. All right. It seems impossible when you're looking at it, but oops, it is very much possible. Come here. Okay. Let's see. Let's get this bow straightened out. Oh, that is not centered. Let's see here. I think this looks pretty good. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold back here to make sure that it is centered. I think it can slide just a smidge this way. All right. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I'm definitely playing with this more than I have to, but I'm sure many of you can relate. Especially because when I first, before I started sewing, I made bows. So my bows have to look a particular way. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. So yeah, this is what it should look like right now. And we will move on to the next step. I forget what it is, so I gotta go read. Okay, next we have to sew the top of the front romper. So you're just going to, like I did on the back, I serged, but you don't have to. I just find that it's much easier to fold the 1/4 inch over. So you fold a 1/4 inch over, and then you fold a 1/2 inch over. And now you're just gonna stitch right along the bottom there. And then when we come back from doing that, we will start assembling our romper. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you're done sewing. Now we can start assembling the romper. You're going to take your back romper, and you're going to pin the front bodice right sides together with it. Oops. Then this side. Okay, and then you're going to put your front bodice on. They're going to overlap slightly, and you want the lower romper piece to be behind the front bodice when you sew it. So it looks like this, and I can pin right there. Perfect. Repeat with this side. Turn it this way. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to take it over to my machine, and I'm going to sew down both sides, and we'll be able to take a look at it when we come back. Okay, I sewed it. Let's take a peek at it, because I'm just too impatient. I gotta look now. I'll pick up this the front. Oh my goodness, how cute is this looking? I'm so excited. Okay, I'm actually going to be doing the rolled hem and sheared like opening. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this inside out again, which I know I had to do. I just had to peek at it because I was too excited. And I'm going to sew the crotch pieces together right there. So I'm just going to sew right there, and then I am going to roll hem the outside all the way around the leg, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. All right, here it is so far. I'm on my last step. I rolled hem these, and now I just need to shear the leg openings, and I'm going to do it just like I did the back bodice, exactly like that. So I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. All right, here's the sheared legs done, and they're so cute. I cannot wait to try this on my mannequin and see what it looks like. Thank you so much for joining me while I sewed orchids. If you are adding the snap crotch, I will include a link in the description bar that links to a different video where I sewed the snap crotch, and you can follow along on how to do that there. If you guys have any questions, feel free to join our Facebook group, and you can ask questions there, and we have tons of people there. I think we have like 30,000 people in there now, and I know that anybody would be happy to help you and answer any questions, and there's a link to that in the description bar as well. We hope that you enjoy this pattern. Please, when you finish sewing it, share it with us in our Facebook group so we can like and tell you how cute it is. So thanks for joining me. Have a great day.